There comes a moment in every life when the noise of the world becomes unbearable, when opinions, failures, and distractions all crash into your spirit at once. It's in that moment, when you are stripped bare of validation, applause, and comfort, that you face the greatest question of all: what is the strength of your mind? Because life in all its beauty and brutality will always test the structure of your belief. Not the surface-level belief you post about or talk about, but the one that lives in the deepest, most sacred chambers of your mind. The belief that determines whether you rise or collapse. The great ones all faced this threshold. Edison, burning through thousands of failed experiments, refused to call them failures. He called them discoveries. Lincoln, shattered by loss and defeat, stood back up not because he was fearless, but because his conviction was stronger than his pain. Carnegie, Ford, and Disney, they didn't have superpowers. They had an unbreakable mind, and that is what this world demands of you now. Not a perfect life, not a comfortable path, but a mind so conditioned in purpose that even when the storm hits, it bends but never breaks. See, the weak mind searches for comfort. It wants applause before progress, results before discipline, validation before vision. But the unbreakable mind, that's a different breed. It understands that greatness is a construction site, not a vacation spot. Every setback is a tool. Every rejection is raw material. Every doubt, every failure, every delay, all of it is sculpting you into the version of yourself that can finally hold the weight of your destiny. When Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve," he wasn't writing poetry. He was revealing a law. He understood that reality itself rearranges around the strength of your mental state. If your mind is fractured by fear, your world will reflect confusion. If your mind is anchored in vision, your world will conspire in your favor. That is the power of thought, sharpened by discipline and belief in the architecture of every empire that has ever existed. But here's the truth: most people never face. Your greatest war is not external. It's not against your circumstances, your critics, or your conditions. It's an internal war between the version of you that wants to remain comfortable and the version of you that demands growth. Between the voice that says it's enough and the whisper that says not yet. Every morning you're in that battle. Every decision, every habit, every moment of doubt, it's a test of which side you feed. The unbreakable mind knows this battle intimately. It knows how to sit in silence when the world goes loud. It knows how to rise early, how to train discipline like a muscle, how to move with purpose even when the outcome is uncertain. Discipline. That's where the weak fall apart and the strong ascend. Discipline is not punishment, it's power under command. It's the ability to direct your mind like a laser toward a chosen vision, no matter how you feel. Because feelings are fleeting, emotions fluctuate. But principles, if built correctly, never waver. An unbreakable mind is constructed through repetition, through conscious thought, through constant awareness of what you allow in. Most people never master this. They feed their minds junk gossip, fear, doubt, distraction, and then wonder why their lives feel chaotic. You can't plant weeds and expect roses. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't feed the mind poison and expect power. Guard your mind like a fortress, because it is one. Every book you read, every word you speak, every habit you repeat, that's brick and mortar in the castle of your consciousness. Look at history. Every visionary from Da Vinci to Jobs lived in this awareness. They trained their minds to bend reality. They lived in the realm of imagination long before the world could see it. The Wright brothers saw flight while others mocked the sky. Henry Ford envisioned a world of moving vehicles while the world was still riding horses. Disney saw a castle before the land was cleared. They all shared one thing: a dominant thought that would not yield to circumstance. That's the cornerstone of the unbreakable mind. Dominant thought, not fleeting wish, not half-hearted hope, but a thought so persistent, so burning, that it outlives resistance. Most people are controlled by circumstance because they never learn to control focus. The mind left untrained is like a wild horse, emotional, unpredictable, easily frightened, but once you learn to rein it in, once you give it direction, it becomes unstoppable. You see, mental toughness isn't about pretending to be fearless. It's about training your response when fear shows up. Fear will always knock, doubt will always whisper, But the unbreakable mind answers with faith in motion. That's the secret. Faith is not stillness, it's action. You act as if, you move as if, you speak as if, until your actions carve the path your belief has already seen. Every champion has felt fear. Every millionaire has faced doubt. Every visionary has battled loneliness. But they kept moving. That's what separates them from the rest. They don't stop to negotiate with their emotions. They don't wait for perfect timing. They move, and by moving, they build momentum. And momentum once built creates miracles. Think about a train. When it's still, even a 1-inch block can hold it back. But once it's moving full speed, it can break through concrete walls. That's the mind when it's conditioned unstoppable once in motion. The unbreakable mind doesn't chase motivation, it creates motion. Because motion generates emotion, discipline generates faith, and faith once established generates results. But you have to decide which version of your mind will you train. The reactive mind that waits for conditions to be right, or the creative mind that makes conditions right through decision and faith. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is this: achievers turn vision into habit. They turn thoughts into systems. They don't just want change, they become change. The unbreakable mind is not formed in moments of ease, it's forged in pressure. Diamonds don't come from comfort, they come from heat, time and pressure. You cannot be great and comfortable at the same time. One must die for the other to live, and that's the truth the world avoids. The masses want results without refinement. They want elevation without excavation, but every rise requires a removal of weakness, doubt, ego, and fear. That's the price of an unbreakable mind. You must be willing to break everything that's not built on truth. This is the inner engineering of greatness. To build an unbreakable mind, you must first break the illusions that enslave it. The illusion that success is luck, the illusion that purpose is found, the illusion that someone else is coming to save you. No one is coming. No one owes you greatness. You must forge it, alone, in the dark, in the quiet hours when no one claps, no one sees, and no one cares. That's where strength is born. That's where you meet your higher self. And when you come out of that fire, when the world throws chaos at you and you stand unshaken, you will understand this was never about the external world. It was about the mastery of your internal one. That's the secret behind every empire, every revolution, every triumph of human spirit. A mind that refused to bow to circumstance. The unbreakable mind is born the moment you stop waiting for the world to make sense and decide to make sense of yourself. Because the truth is, clarity is not discovered, it is designed. You carve it from confusion the same way a sculptor carves form from stone. Every moment of doubt, every setback, every painful question, it's all part of that shaping process. The great minds of history didn't stumble into vision, they crafted it. Andrew Carnegie didn't wake up a steel titan, he built an empire from a thought. Henry Ford was laughed at for dreaming of a car for the common man. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. These men understood something the masses never will. Your mind is the blueprint of your future, and your vision is the currency of creation. You can't build a palace with vague plans. You can't command destiny with weak words. The unbreakable mind speaks with precision. It imagines in detail. It feels the result before it arrives. It is not seduced by how long it will take. It is obsessed with how far it will go. That's the difference between a wish and a vision. A wish floats. A vision burns. A wish waits. A vision works. A wish asks if. A vision declares when. The mind must be trained to see beyond circumstance, to project power into possibility. Because the world reflects not what you want, but who you are being. That's why you must become the person your dream demands. Don't chase success, embody it. Speak it in your tone. Breathe it in your posture. Move as if the results already exist. Because to the mind, imagination is reality rehearsed. The more you rehearse, the more you believe. The more you believe, the more you attract. This is the essence of Hill's teachings, that your dominant thoughts magnetize conditions, that your inner world precedes your outer one. You cannot fake frequency. You cannot disguise belief. You will always attract what aligns with your internal order. So the question becomes, what are you transmitting? Fear, scarcity, doubt, or faith, abundance and certainty? Because the world will echo whatever signal you send. An unbreakable mind sends one signal: I am inevitable, not because of arrogance, but because of alignment. because it knows that a clear mind connected to a definite purpose cannot be denied. Purpose that's the compass of the unbreakable mind. Without it, even talent dissolves into distraction. With it, even failure becomes fuel. Purpose gives pain a reason. It turns confusion into direction. People ask, how do I find my purpose? You don't find it, you uncover it. It's buried beneath layers of conditioning, fear, and external noise. It's the quiet voice that's been whispering since you were a child, the one the world tried to silence with practicality. But purpose never dies. It only waits for your attention, and when you give it your full attention, life rearranges itself. You begin to notice signs, opportunities, and people aligned with your mission. Coincidence becomes coordination. Doors open. Timing synchronizes. That's not magic, that's mental clarity creating magnetic attraction. Because when you know why you move, every obstacle becomes part of the choreography. The storms no longer break you, they build you. The delays no longer discourage you, they prepare you. The critics no longer matter, they confirm your movement. The unbreakable mind thrives in adversity. It sees pressure not as punishment, but as proof that it's on the edge of transformation. That's the quiet power of the unbreakable mind. It stops being reactive and becomes creative. It no longer says, why is this happening to me? But instead, what is this teaching me? That single shift from victim to student, from student to master, is the turning point of every extraordinary life. The truth is, most people never make that shift. They let life happen to them instead of through them. They let opinions steer their destiny, fears dictate their moves, and comfort kill their dreams. They become prisoners in a cage made of doubt, comparing themselves to others, waiting for luck, waiting for signs, waiting for the perfect time, not realizing that the perfect time never comes. Because perfection isn't a moment, it's a mindset. And that mindset must be forged in solitude when no one is clapping, when no one believes, when the lights are off and all that's left is you, your dream, and your discipline. That's where the unbreakable mind is born, in the silence of late nights and early mornings, in the unseen hours when no one is watching, when it's just you versus the voice that says quit. So how do you build it? You begin with clarity, the ability to know what you want and why it matters. Because without clarity, the mind fractures. It gets pulled by every new distraction, every new opinion, every shiny object that promises faster success. But with clarity, you become immovable. Purpose becomes your compass, discipline your path, and belief your armor. Then comes focus, the ruthless elimination of what does not serve your higher goal. You cannot build an unbreakable mind while entertaining mediocrity. Every time you say yes to something small, you say no to something great. You must train your mind like a warrior trains his sword sharp, deliberate, unwavering. And after focus comes faith. Not religious faith, but the unshakable belief in the unseen, in your potential, your destiny, your divine purpose. Because faith is what keeps you walking when the path disappears. It's what fuels persistence when results are invisible. Faith is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. Napoleon Hill once said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But the modern world twists that truth. It celebrates speed, shortcuts, and instant gratification. It teaches you to want without work, to expect without endurance. Yet every lasting success still follows the same eternal law. Thought plus belief plus disciplined action equals creation. There is no substitute. If you want to rise above the noise, you must silence it. If you want to command your destiny, you must first command your attention. And if you want to master your world, you must first master your mind, because the mind is the seed of all reality. What you plant grows. Plant fear, reap limitation. Plant faith, reap miracles. Plant gratitude, reap abundance. The soil doesn't care, it simply multiplies what you give it. That's why the unbreakable mind guards its thoughts like treasures. It doesn't waste energy on gossip, envy, or worry. It invested in vision, in gratitude, in creation. When you reach that level, when your inner world becomes stronger than your outer circumstances, you become unstoppable. Challenges still come, but they no longer control you. You might fall, but you no longer break. You bend, you adapt, you evolve. You begin to understand that every setback is an initiation, every delay a divine detour, and every failure a hidden blessing preparing you for something greater. That's when you cross the threshold from living by chance to living by design, from being a reactor to being a creator, from chasing dreams to manifesting them. And when that day comes, when your mind becomes unbreakable, you'll see that nothing external ever truly had power over you. Not the economy, not other people, not your past. The real battlefield was always within, because the truth, the timeless, unshakable truth is this: Life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. The power of an unbreakable mind is not in avoiding storms, it's in learning to dance in the rain. It's in realizing that life will not wait for you to feel ready, confident, or certain. The world rewards those who act despite fear, despite doubt, despite the noise, because that is the rarest courage, the courage to move forward while your knees are still shaking. Every great soul in history knew this truth. Lincoln didn't wait for applause. Edison didn't wait for permission. They were ridiculed, misunderstood, called dreamers and fools, but they pressed forward anyway, because they knew something most never discover, that your vision will always be invisible to the blind. And so they learned to see with inner eyes, the eyes of belief, imagination, and purpose. You must become the same. You must build an inner world so powerful that the outer world bends to it. This is the essence of creation itself. Every innovation, every empire, every revolution began as a single thought, a whisper of possibility that refused to die. That's how Ford envisioned a car when horses ruled the roads. That's how Carnegie imagined steel cities before a single beam was forged. That's how Disney dreamed of magic when others only saw empty land. The unbreakable mind is not gifted, it's constructed day by day through discipline and clarity. It's built when you say no to the distractions that beg for your attention. It's built when you choose growth over comfort, truth over popularity, and focus over entertainment. Each decision you make is a brick, and the fortress of your mind is either being built or broken with every choice. But here's the paradox. The unbreakable mind doesn't mean a mind without pain. It means a mind that uses pain. It transforms rejection into refinement, fear into fuel, and failure into feedback. When others crumble under the weight of disappointment, the unbreakable mind uses that weight to grow stronger, because it knows adversity is not a punishment, it's a sculptor, and every strike of its chisel is shaping you into who you were meant to become. There will be seasons when everything feels like it's falling apart, when your plans collapse, when the people you trusted disappear, when nothing makes sense. Those are the moments that define you, because the world doesn't test your strength when things are easy, it tests it when you stand in the ruins and choose to rebuild anyway. And if you do, if you rise from the ashes with faith instead of bitterness, something happens. Your spirit becomes unshakable. You no longer depend on circumstances for peace. You no longer need validation to know your worth. You stop chasing happiness and start creating it. That's the quiet power of the unbreakable mind. It stops being reactive and becomes creative. It no longer says, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead, "What is this teaching me?" That single shift from victim to student, from student to master, is the turning point of every extraordinary life. The truth is, most people never make that shift. They let life happen to them instead of through them. They let opinions steer their destiny, fears dictate their moves, and comfort kill their dreams. They become prisoners in a cage made of doubt, comparing themselves to others, waiting for luck, waiting for signs, waiting for the perfect time, not realizing that the perfect time never comes, because perfection isn't a moment, it's a mindset. And that mindset must be forged in solitude, when no one is clapping, when no one believes, when the lights are off and all that's left is you, your dream, and your discipline. That's where the unbreakable mind is born, in the silence of late nights and early mornings, in the unseen hours when no one is watching, when it's just you versus the voice that says quit. So how do you build it? You begin with clarity, the ability to know what you want and why it matters. Because without clarity, the mind fractures. It gets pulled by every new distraction, every new opinion, every shiny object that promises faster success. But with clarity, you become immovable. Purpose becomes your compass, discipline your path, and belief your armor. Then comes focus, the ruthless elimination of what does not serve your higher goal. You cannot build an unbreakable mind while entertaining mediocrity. Every time you say yes to something small, you say no to something great. You must train your mind like a warrior trains his sword, sharp, deliberate, unwavering, and after focus comes faith, not religious faith, but the unshakable belief in the unseen, in your potential, your destiny, your divine purpose. Because faith is what keeps you walking when the path disappears. It's what fuels persistence when results are invisible. Faith is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But the modern world twists that truth. It celebrates speed, shortcuts, and instant gratification. It teaches you to want without work, to expect without endurance. Yet every lasting success still follows the same eternal law. Thought plus belief plus disciplined action equals creation. There is no substitute. If you want to rise above the noise, you must silence it. If you want to command your destiny, you must first command your attention. And if you want to master your world, you must first master your mind, because the mind is the seed of all reality. What you plant grows. Plant fear, reap limitation. Plant faith, reap miracles. Plant gratitude, reap abundance. The soil doesn't care, it simply multiplies what you give it. That's why the unbreakable mind guards its thoughts like treasures. It doesn't waste energy on gossip, envy, or worry. It invests it in vision, in gratitude, in creation. When you reach that level, when your inner world becomes stronger than your outer circumstances, you become unstoppable. Challenges still come, but they no longer control you. You might fall, but you no longer break. You bend, you adapt, you evolve. You begin to understand that every setback is an initiation, every delay a divine detour, and every failure a hidden blessing preparing you for something greater. That's when you cross the threshold from living by chance to living by design, from being a reactor to being a creator, from chasing dreams to manifesting them. And when that day comes, when your mind becomes unbreakable, you'll see that nothing external ever truly had power over you. Not the economy, not other people, not your past. The real battlefield was always within. Because the truth, the timeless, unshakable truth is this: life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And that strength, that inner fire that refuses to die, is the ultimate currency of life. When the world trembles, it is the unbreakable who rise. When others complain, they create. When others shrink, they expand. Because they understand one thing most never will: life doesn't owe you comfort, it offers you potential. And potential is nothing but raw, untamed energy waiting for direction. Direct it and you rise. Waste it and you rust. The unbreakable mind doesn't waste its energy fighting what is. It channels it toward what can be. It learns the divine art of transmutation, turning pain into power, failure into feedback, and doubt into determination. When others see an obstacle, the unbreakable mind sees an opportunity to grow sharper. When others see rejection, it sees redirection. When others see endings, it sees evolution. That's the power of awareness. That's the beginning of mastery, because the unbreakable mind is not built overnight. It is forged, hammered in the fires of adversity, and cooled in the waters of faith. Every setback is another strike of the hammer, another test of the soul's resolve. And if you endure, if you stay true to your vision while everything around you shakes, you come out not bitter but brilliant. You come out not hardened but refined. The ancients understood this. The Stoics, the sages, the visionaries, they all preached the same truth. Mastery begins when you stop trying to control the external and start commanding the internal. The weather changes, the markets shift, people leave, plans fail, but the one who commands his mind commands his destiny. That's the quiet revolution happening inside every awakened soul. While the world screams for shortcuts, the wise are building fortresses within. While others chase the illusion of control, the few cultivate inner calm and equilibrium so strong that chaos becomes irrelevant. And that's when life starts to bend to your will. You stop chasing success and start attracting it. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with precision. Because now your vibration, your mindset, your energy are aligned with the frequency of creation itself. You think with power, speak with conviction, act with certainty, and the world mirrors that back to you. That is the hidden law behind every great achiever. They aligned the invisible before they conquered the visible. Edison visualized light before he built it. Henry Ford saw cars on every street before anyone believed it was possible. Carnegie saw towers of steel long before the foundations were poured. They didn't wait for evidence, they became the evidence. Their belief preceded the proof. That is what you must do. You must see it before it exists. You must act as though the vision is already alive. Because the mind doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality, it manifests what you dwell upon with feeling, persistence, and faith. That's the secret Napoleon Hill revealed decades ago. Not magic, not luck, but alignment between thought, belief, and purpose. What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This wasn't poetic, it was scientific. The brain literally rewires itself around the ideas you feed it. Your focus becomes your future. So what are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding it doubt, gossip, and fear? Or are you feeding it ideas, gratitude, and greatness? Because the unbreakable mind is like a temple. It only allows in what elevates it. Every negative thought is an intruder. Every limiting belief a thief. Guard the gates. Be ruthless with your mental diet. What you consume becomes what you create. And then build rituals. The unbreakable mind thrives on repetition. Discipline is the language of greatness. Wake up with intention. Move your body. Write your goals. Speak affirmations with power. Read words that challenge your thinking. Surround yourself with people who demand your best, not your comfort. Because greatness doesn't come from one big decision, it comes from thousands of small ones, repeated daily. It's not the mountain you climb that makes you unbreakable, it's every step you take when no one's watching. Every morning you rise early when you don't feel like it. Every time you push through self-doubt, every time you do what others won't, you are carving new grooves in your mind, patterns of persistence, confidence, and certainty. You are teaching your subconscious to obey your higher self, and soon your reality begins to shift. Not by accident, but by design. The people who once doubted you start to wonder how you did it. They call it luck. They call it timing. They don't realize you didn't get lucky. You got laser focused. You didn't stumble into success. You forged it through sacrifice and self-mastery. And here's the greatest paradox of all. The moment you no longer need to prove anything to the world starts proving itself to you. Opportunities appear. Doors open. The right people show, because the energy of certainty attracts everything uncertainty repels. That's the essence of the unbreakable mind. It's a vibration, a resonance with power. gratitude, and faith. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's not pride, it's presence. You become calm but not passive, confident but not careless, humble but not small. You no longer chase, you magnetize, because you finally understand you are not a victim of circumstance, you are a creator of reality. And that's when you transcend. You begin to move differently, speak differently, think differently. You no longer argue for your limitations. You no longer identify with your past. You stop saying one day and start saying now, because you realize the truth. The mind is not a mirror of the world is a mirror of the mind. That's why every transformation begins within. Every dream, every vision, every success story begins with a decision. The decision to believe in your power more than your past. The decision to discipline your emotions, to guard your thoughts, and to trust your purpose. And when you make that decision truly, deeply, the universe rearranges itself around your new identity. So look within, not at the noise, not at the opinions, not at the odds. Look within where all power begins. The kingdom of success has always been in the mind. You were born with the tools. You were born with the fire. You were born with the potential. All you have to do now is claim it. Because when the mind is unbreakable, no storm can destroy you, no failure can define you, and no limit can confine you. You are not here to survive. You are here to create. You are not here to blend in. You are here to build. You are not here to live small. You are here to expand. So rise and let the fire within you illuminate the path ahead. Let your vision become your compass. Let your discipline become your weapon. Let your faith become your shield. And remember, the power of an unbreakable mind is not found in avoiding struggle, but in mastering it. It's not in never falling, but in rising stronger every time. You are the architect, the alchemist, the author of your destiny. Think greatly, believe boldly, act fearlessly. For the world bows not to the one who wishes, but to the one who decides.